Grumsh, the creator god of the orcs in the distant past, offered aid to the gods in a crusade, with the promise of a plane to call home. But when the end came upon the gods, no home was given, and Grumsh was spurned. This enraged him, so much so that he created a race in his image to rampage across the plains, to destroy that which was not his and take a place among the ashes. Settling on a face of a six-sided realm of Acheron for a time, Grumsh warred, and when the dungeon arrived, he brought his war to the gates of Amaranth. Welcome, travelers, to the Dragonleaf, the Teahouse where tales are told. If you like the content, leave a like in the tip jar and subscribe to our weekly tales. Leave a comment in the suggestion box to tell us how well we did, or how well we did not. Thank you for listening, and I have something to say. The sun is a terrible thing. It burns you. It turns you into some form of lobster man, and you survive, breathing heavily, staring up towards it, oppressively looking down at you, and I got a sunburn. I got a sunburn. Thank you for listening. And without further ado, it's time to open up shop. Hello, everybody.
Whoa. We all got sunburns.
You should have been like, yeah.
To be honest, I know the meme. I know the meme. I know the text. Like I could probably draw the frame by heart, but I don't know the scream. I don't know the yeah.
Oh, it's from Seaside Miami from
from
the intro.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, that whole meme is
You get to go faster.
well, he also did it like at the end of like so many episodes, he'd do this and then say a one-liner.
Yeah, but then the song would go yeah.
Yeah.
All right, give me the yeah one more time. Hit me with that yeah.
Okay.
Yeah!
I don't know.
That's it, right? That's it.
All right, one more.
Okay. All right. No, you have to get ready to take your glasses off.
I'm ready.
Okay.
There we go.
So good.
It's so weird. It was like duplicated movements.
I like the doubling up of that Grumsh story.
Thank you. Without further ado, last time, Jojo gained a level in Barbarian and issued a challenge to Ilnival, the orcish god of strategy. She and Matilda went to see Jaeger and entered into the Grove, speaking to him and Talana about Matilda's tome. Vincent and Harai Zephyr, the actor, put on a performance that... Oh, I'm sorry. I have the wrong one. Last time, with Matilda and Killian... That was what happened 2 times ago. You guys get that little just extra tidbit. With Matilda and Killian awaiting their compensation for the auction. The main stage of the auction finished, with a small bidding war between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Valentia Olandi, and Castile Goldwater, the owner of the Goldwater Trading Company, for a large Magitech engine. As the auction concluded, many left, but many remained for the final stretch. The showing of new and improved abominations to a watching crowd from above wearing masquerade masks. Several notable people and nobles watched on in horror as they were to be fed to a draconic monstrosity, until Vincent and Jojo led the charge and dealt with this monster and its keepers. As the nobles swear to repay the debt and flee with Carson to safety, the family returns home and speaks with Lavos regarding the happenings, before Jojo and Matilda find a particularly curious note in their hands, delivered by Vincent and Carson. The final pieces of the auction, seemingly some kind of code for the true merchandise being sold at hand. They take to the late night in order to begin their investigation of this strange note before falling asleep. And Jojo has just a little bit of an awakening, finding herself on a strange and desolate flat plain, attempting desperately to move the rules around you. 6 kinds of flat. But as the world itself shifts under the power of your magic, so too does the situation you find yourself in. A javelin hurled by a massive god, silhouetting nearly the entire horizon, and an army at his feet moves with you and closes in, ever so slightly dangling above you. And that is where we'll jump back in. So as you guys find yourselves in the midst of the night, you have the safety of the home and you may complete your long rest. if you desire, or if you have any little bits of roleplay in between, you're good.
So even Ilnival, when Jojo teleported, even Ilnival teleported with her?
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Well, there goes one of those plans I had. Of just teleporting so that the fear hit him instead.
I like to picture we're in the main room of the house, like where there's like all the books and the couches, and you fell asleep while Matilda was still plugging away at the code. It doesn't even notice you're having a nightmare. She's just like hyper focused on.
I don't even know if
that
she
thing
thinks
correct.
it's a nightmare though. It's like, ooh, challenge, chess puzzle.
Might die. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't have to sleep, so I could probably spend more time working on that code if it doesn't make me too tired. But
You don't need to sleep, but you do still need 6 hours of like non-strenuous activity.
yeah.
I like to picture Matilda's solving of codes to be strenuous activity, just because there's boards, there's reaching, there's a lot going on. So within the 2 hours that you were capable of looking at this, go ahead and roll investigation for me. You're right at the beginning of this cipher, so it seems unlikely that you would like crack it immediately. But something's going on there, definitely.
Investigation. Let's get this code, and I'm gonna guide myself. Yep. Roll.
18. Looking at it, the initial phases of this note that you received, first off, like, just the cost of the inks, the cost of everything that's kind of just here, right? The paper is finely pressed. It's on fine stationery with, like, distant flourish. There's no organization attached to it. Simply like a note, like a leaflet. As you stare at it and you look, the first things that clued you guys off to this was the fact of, one, the price. Relatively, relatively low. 2 large carriages. The fact that they advertised them as large carriages caught you as strange in the first place. 2 large carriages, 195 gold pieces. 6 horses, 220 gold pieces. 6 bicycles, 75 gold pieces. It's just, in general, a strange thing to look at. As you are beginning to pore over it, you don't particularly gain any additional information looking at it, but you also begin to feel like there's information that you are missing. As though there is more to this than meets the eye at current. But there is more that can be found elsewhere.
You tried holding it above the candle. Look for that invisible ink.
Well, I can't. I'll wake you up and do that idea first.
Okay.
So everybody wakes up. I'll go get Strigonona, my weird little jackalope bunny, sit in the room, watch Jojo sleep.
I think Strigonona's at Mama Mal's, isn't she?
No, she's back here. Whenever we come back, I always go get her.
Okay. I was like, Mama Mal's experiments are gonna go awry.
No. That's why I go get her.
Alright, what do you guys do?
In the morning, could I re-summon Gambit? Because they died again.
You summon them. I think they, at this point, as the magic comes to fruition, they're kind of upside down. And all of the noodles are just kind of pulled in. So they actually just look like a fully translucent bowl of udon noodles. And then slowly kind of tip over. One kind of grabs your face and sticks on, and then just begins to move up before being fully upright, and then both eyes.
Nice. I did summon them as a octopus again.
Amazing.
Where is
Did you
my...
notice there's like a piece of cold toast next to everyone's, like in front of everyone's door, or like next to them, and Matilda was like looking over you while you wake up, waiting for your eyes to open.
I
made you breakfast. Eat so we can work.
Okay. What did you make for Jojo?
It's a piece of cold toast. I've been waiting for a while.
Thank
I
you.
bet there's not even anything on it. It's just
No, it's just plain.
Yeah. It's just like...
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yum.
You take a bite, Jojo. It is cold toast. But you take note that across the way, in front of several other people's rooms, including Lavos and Laura and and Vincent is like fresh toast with a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled over top and butter through. As you kind of glance around in this shock, you look around and you see around the corner, because of my absolutely terrible stealth check, Jeremus the butler looking at you, holding like another plate of toast, preparing to replace yours as he ducks back.
Yeah, Jojo's just like, and is gonna try and stealthily do the exchange.
Ooh, roll sleight of hand. This is the best use of sleight of hand so far.
Attributes. That is sleight of hand. Normal. That is an average 11.
Here's the thing. You go to exchange it, and like you kind of bring it around. Matilda, you do notice the sleight of hand, but also you do notice afterwards Jeremus dropped the fucking plate and the with a crit 1, slams into the ground, shatters slightly. The toast lands face down, which never happens. Virtually impossible.
Which one is the face down because it has no jam or anything on it?
It's got a little bit of cinnamon, some butter, nicely toasted.
Those
Oh,
the good ones.
it's the good one. Oh no.
You then just hear stare. That's the sound of footsteps descending stairs.
Oh man.
Is there anyone in this house who particularly don't like? Or do we like everyone in the house?
I think we like everyone in the house. I mean, it's up to Matilda if she dislikes
Yeah,
Jeremy.
I don't think I can answer that question.
I'll go up to Killian's door and be like, hold on, and I'll switch the toast that fell and put it on their plate and then bring the clean one.
Aw, poor Killian.
I got awake. Here, I didn't make the toast to be tasty. It's meant to sustain you so we can get to work.
I understand this. I understand. Okay, what do you need help with?
And
Then
I
you
show
just
you.
stop it in her face.
Well, you wanted to make your weird.
Yeah,
lump,
yeah.
Right.
I'm
So-
focusing for an hour on making Gambit though. So, could you reload JoJo just because I changed out her spells?
Sure.
We need to figure out this code. There's something here that we're missing. I know I wasn't able to get too much
Okay.
last night.
Have you tried holding it over fire?
No, I mean, that always seems kind of counterintuitive. It is paper.
Well, sometimes there's like, you know, have you ever used invisible ink? You just take lemon juice and it's like a fun way to do secret notes with your siblings. Oh.
No, usually, reading things, like intercepting messages from my parents would result in missing limbs or fingers. So that was a lot more, preventative than invisible ink. Usually
Well, let's
people
just
didn't-
try it because maybe these people
Okay.
don't have that. And JoJo's gonna just like hold it above the fire to try and heat it up and see if there's invisible ink or something.
You place it above the flame, and you can see as the heat kind of touches the paper, and you're just trying to use the light above it. The paper itself turns like this kind of just sheer orange across all of it. It's like a normal beige kind of color when it's normal, or yeah. And you place it above these kind of like orange light given off from it, and it just turns this relatively desaturated orange color straight across.
That's weird. It was soaked in something else? Do you know of like something that would have this chemical reaction, Matilda? She like hands the paper back to you.
Does Matilda know? Does it smell like anything? If I lick it, does it taste like something?
I think
Actually,
this
don't
was a
lick
trap.
it.
Yeah,
Matilda's
maybe
not
it's
gonna lick it.
soaked
Yeah,
in
Matilda-
poison.
Yeah,
We should wash our hands.
I'll smell it though.
Jervis!
Jermis rounds the corner, being like, "Oh, I've just woken up. How can I help you?"
We have like a basin of water or something. We might have been poisoned.
Oh, goodness. Yes, I'll bring one forthwith. He turns and begins to make his way downstairs. Like 30, 40 seconds later, you can hear just like... this old man's
Oh my
carrying like a
God.
large pot of water. Oh, there you are.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Have you ever seen something like this? She just points towards the paper that turned orange.
It's,
Like
Yes.
it turned orange,
oh,
being warm.
I was just going to comment on the cleanness of it.
Are
Actually,
you okay?
yes, I'm just a little exhausted. I'm afraid that it doesn't tickle my memory.
But you were told that. Do you know something like that?
Do I know anything chemistry-wise, Adrian, that would change color? Because I know litmus paper does, depending on if it's used an acid or a base. But
Do you have alchemy tools proficiency?
I do.
You do have to alchemy tools proficiency. Looking at this, you ascertain there's some kind of chemical wash that's gone through the use of this. What it is specifically, you're not certain, which means that it's either something that's not in circulation, or it's not something, or maybe it's even a new discovery. But looking at it, it seems to be almost responding to, like, the heat. But not only that, it kind of matches the color of the candle as you glance back and forth between the two. You're like, this chemical is taking on the color of the flame, not changing from the heat of it.
Jojo just cast control flame and change the fire to be like purple, and then hold it over again and see if it does changes color. Again.
As you change the flame to be purple and you hold it over, some faint lettering begins to appear, but it's slightly scattered. You can see that it's almost absorbing some of this light spectrum.
Make the flame black. What about black flame?
Black. Okay, I'll try black. I was thinking Oz or blue.
Oh.
The entire thing goes dark.
Oh. Blue. Go blue.
Yeah, let's try blue. Cast it again. I'm just trying evercolor.
The entire sheet goes dark white once more, and then the writing written upon it becomes clear as day.
Ooh.
Wow, underneath,
cool.
Underneath you can see 2 large carriages, 2 dragon flesh abominations, and roughly 200 vials of rampage. Under 6 horses. Under 6 horses, you get 6 Gorgon bulls and 220 vials of rampage. Under 6 bicycles, you see 6 rampage pixies and 75 vials of euphoria to keep them in check.
Wow. Damn. Hey, nice job. High five.
Jeremis goes in and immediately intercepts that.
Thank you.
It's mostly you, so yeah, I didn't do anything.
I'm surprised it worked. I mean, you knew the color thing. We worked together. This is a team. This is a team.
You didn't roll anything. That doesn't mean you didn't do anything. You immediately succeeded on your roll.
Should we wake up the others?
You're poisoned, aren't you? You just said you're poisoned.
I think it's a false alarm, Jeremy.
How? Very well. He grabs the water and turns towards the stairs and begins to just slog down them now.
Maybe use that water for the shrubs. They need some water, and they might like a little bath.
He stops halfway around, turns around. He's bring them outside.
Yeah, let's bring it to the others. Are they awake yet?
Do we want any of this stuff?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we have a beef with Marcus, I guess, but do we actually care about this? Do we want to I don't know, bring this to the authorities so that they can handle it? I don't know. Because I would love to mess with Marcus. I don't know if I want to do it personally. Let's go ask the others.
You guys do know that Vincent has informed Alexi about the abominations prior in the district, so the Deneries guards are aware of what's going on and could be looking into things. So if you wanted to be good citizens, you could.
Yeah, I think George gonna go and wake up Vincent and Lavos.
When you go to wake up Vincent, he's actually not there.
Oh. Was Vincent gonna work tonight?
No.
He did let JoJo know when she was before he headed off to bed last session that he'd probably come back home shortly after she woke up, so he wouldn't be when she woke up, be there.
Oh, okay. Then I go take his toast in front of his door and put it in front of Killian's and then throw Killian's.
Good. Okay.
Why didn't you tell me he wasn't coming home? Then I wouldn't have given Killian the gross toast.
I forgot.
Wow.
I was tired last night. It was a long day. I had to be around nobles and shit. It's exhausting.
You were moving around a lot in your sleep. I was watching you.
Oh, yeah. I had one of those dreams with it was like an Ashfall dream, I guess. Like there's like that I told you about the javelin getting thrown at me, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So I had that dream again, but I think that the challenge is still happening maybe every night until I either die or win in this dream. I don't know if I die in the dream, if I'll die in real life. Lavos!
If you go to sleep holding hands with someone, do they go in the dream with you?
I haven't tried that. I sort of doubt it, but...
Lavos rounds the corner with like cowlicked hair, beard kind of like shuffled off to one side. He's like, oh yeah.
I'll basically TLDR, I'll fill them in on the dream and everything.
Oh, Lavos, you stepped in your toast.
Oh.
It's like a piece of toast.
He snaps his fingers and you see a raven kind of just appear out of the darkness of the corner and walks up and just begins to tear at the toast. He's like, yeah, good job. Just avoid the footprint. And then he begins to go downstairs. As you begin to fill him in on what's gone down, he sits back and listens in and says, oh, yeah, I can offer you some protections. Of course, as long as we're, within a fair distance from each other. I don't know how much I could do from far away.
Yeah.
But if this is happening, you and I, we can just hold hands and I can enter into your dream.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I want to figure out how to beat it. But I don't know how to do that quite yet. I need to think more on it.
It might behoove you to look into, I suppose. There might be stories of some kind, oral histories of the orcs. You mentioned this is an orcish god.
Yeah, Ilnaval. I did go to the Anvil district to figure that out. Like who they are. But
are we going to the library?
We could go to the library, but most, like, if it's an orc god, probably it's like Alava said, mostly oral history. So not many books.
If Athena were here, she might be able to help us, but not as far as I know, she's not around in this, place, this world we're in.
Would we even know about Greek gods that aren't, like, in the city?
For the most part, the Greek pantheon is known, and there's a lot of people who still kind of worship kind of a lot of these gods. It's just that some of them are more obscure. Lavos, more obscure. Athena, not quite.
Okay. Well, we could try both. We could try going to the Anvil district and also going to the library.
Was she your girlfriend? It sounded like you kind of had a history with her.
No.
No.
No, I became a god kind of more spur of the moment. Almost like a revenge godhood, I guess. Yeah. I have a very rich and fulfilling backstory. But it's going to take more than one piece of toast to get me to share that. He stands up. Hey, Maddie! 2 pieces of toast, please. Actually, in fact, just make me a sandwich or something. Put something in between the toast as he makes his way towards the kitchen.
Cinnamon sandwich.
Honey.
As you guys begin to contemplate the cinnamon sandwich that Lavos will likely be receiving, the camera pulls away, and we see Vincent.
The carb cinnamon challenge.
Oh, no, awful. Don't do it. I have a friend who ruined his whole life. He lost his home, his friends, me specifically, abandoned him. A little bit, yeah. I also burned down his home. I really just don't do it because I'm a terrible person. We zoom out and we see Vincent. Where is Vincent right now? What's he doing?
About 6 hours after the rest, he probably woke up and started to just mentally connect with Carson and get the carriage ready in his own carriage, and basically just head off into it, not doing anything too crazy, and just head down to the Heart's Desires.
Okay. Carson meets you. You grab the carriage. On the carriage ride as well He begins to tell you, I took note of where those nobles lived. Several of them were actually just staying nearby. Two of which specifically said that they were from out of town and were visiting in, and the... What is his name again? The larger gentleman who had purchased the boat within the auction.
Was it Lionheart?
No. Something close to that, though. Lionel. His name was Lionel. He actually has a home within the Reverie, which is interesting. Did not picture him for the party animal type, but it seems as though he has quite the nightlife about him. I've begun looking into them as well. Rest assured.
Adrian, what was the gentleman that gave me the note? What was his name?
Esteban Leteri.
Okay. Did you note where you dropped Esteban off?
Esteban is one of the individuals who's staying outside, but I believe he had said he is interconnected with Reston, which, as I understand, is a small settlement on the outside of town.
He wishes to see me. Left me a note. I know the others are going to be interested in going back in the dungeon pretty soon, so why don't we arrange something, have him meet us at the family home?
Quite the power play. I will ensure that he comes to see us. He smiles.
That's it. Vincent will just kind of sit back and mentally continue on with his internal thoughts and continue on with the ride until we get to the Heart's Desires.
Alrighty. As this conversation concludes, we zoom back out. Matilda and Jojo, where were you going? What were you doing?
I was sort of planning on going to see my mom today. If we were planning on going back into the dungeon. Sometime soon.
Yeah.
Do you want to come with?
Oh, I thought you weren't going to want me to come with you.
You know, as I said it, I sort of thought maybe I shouldn't invite you. But,
That's fine.
No, you can come if you want.
Okay. Behave, I promise.
How long has it been since you guys woke up now? And you've eaten and done? Probably about an hour? Okay. This would be about when Vincent probably returns.
Oh, hey. Unless there was something you guys needed to do. I don't know if with the dream stuff, I don't know if I'm going to be ready to go into the dungeon too soon.
Dream stuff? Are you having more weird dreams again, Jojo?
Yes. Yeah. And I'll fill in Vincent.
Okay.
And your cook Matazinia shows up and is like, dreams? What do you mean?
I don't have the time to tell you, Metazinia.
All right. Yeah, have some tea. And then
thank you.
Well, are you sure this isn't induced by You tend to worry a little bit, Jojo.
I'm pretty sure this has something to do with my last level up. I don't know, if there was a god showing up in your dreams trying to kill you, I think you'd be a little concerned, wouldn't you?
You might just need therapy.
That's what my mom said.
Well,
But,
I really dislike that your mother and I have the same ideas frequently.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should go figure more about this out first. I haven't seen my mom in a while, though. I don't know, what were you guys wanting to do today? Oh, also, Vincent, we figured out the note thing. She'll, like, slip the note over to Vincent.
he'll glance down and kind of... Do you guys have, like, what is really written? Like a
Yeah, I think it held onto that, right?
The card itself? Do you want to...
Huh?
What was this, sir?
Like, after putting the paper over Ozzer Flame, it showed the real writing. Did that hold on, or did it fade away in time?
Oh, the actual message faded away. It needs the color of the light, as far as you can discern.
Jojo will redo it and show it to Vincent.
Okay. He'll glance it over and just kind of give you guys a nod. You're not looking to purchase these, are you?
No.
I don't see why we need them. Curious about who would be purchasing them.
I'm interested in the euphoria and the things that they use, but not so much the creatures.
I'm
Yes,
curious.
I feel like it would be a bit of a chore to deal with them.
Where did you find this letter?
It was delivered to us. That individual from the auction came down.
Well, that does seem suspicious. Definitely screams trap number 3.
Maybe. Could actually be more.
Might be a challenge.
Well, the blue lights seem to trigger this based on what you guys discovered. So I'm assuming more from his order. They were using similar blue magic. Might be in on this. Might not necessarily be directed at us.
Well, they sent us this letter. Do you think they just sent this to everyone who went to the auction?
Perhaps they did announce that there was 3 more available things. It'd be odd for them to just not reveal them.
Oh, maybe
It should be a courtesy.
The best part about a challenge is that you can say no. You don't have to do it. This might be one of those times.
Can you say no?
Yes.
Like, should you say no?
Yes.
Lavos leans in and takes a bite of his sandwich, and it's just like, oh yeah, you can always say no. And then just leaves. I'm listening, by the way. I'm just over here.
I'm not particularly interested in this. At least, I don't know what we would necessarily get out of it, aside from maybe a couple potions or brews, but it seems like a waste of time.
The only thing that I find really interesting is like they have 2 separate things here. One is the stuff for the abominations, and the other one is a separate thing for fake creatures. So either the fake creatures need something separate to keep them controlled, or they need something separate to go berserk. But for me, they remind me very much of the monster cores that are dropped off from monsters when they're in the dungeon. So I wonder if they found a way to separate a monster core from a creature, and then that's why they freak out and they want it back so much. I don't know. It's just really weird.
It seems like they use the Ozzer Flame from the dungeon a lot.
They also know that other places in the world are using dungeon technology, even when they're saying they're against dungeon technology, to mine and do things, or and to like create like weird dwarf slave workers to excavate stuff in mines. So
I mean, maybe we can look and see if there's some missions in relation to this, so at least we can get paid for it. Or we could just hand off this letter to Alexi. Like, you already told him about the other stuff, right?
We could. He's looking into quite a few things around the city. This might actually be information he might want.
And if we
Would
found
not.
any other paper, let him know about the Ozzer Flame trick.
Sure. And in the back of his head, Carson, do you want to tell Alexi to come down here today?
I'm on it.
And then he'll look towards Jojo. He'll come by sometime today.
Okay.
Mama Malin,
You
Pom
said-
Pom might know something too. Pom Pom might probably know how you can catch a bunch of fae.
The thing is, like I said, even if we caught them, what would we do with them? Feels like a lot of wasted time.
I think
I just
maybe it
like-
would just be reputation in the city.
Just like having the information so I can use
Yeah.
it to my advantage there.
I'm more interested in that.
As either we could give the information to Alexi, or we could tell what's his face that we know some very powerful players that could get them in big trouble. So if you don't want us to sweep on them, give us some money or something to sweeten the
Who are
pot.
you speaking about?
Marcus.
Do you know how to get in contact with him? He seems like a individual who wouldn't stick around. He's done that quite a bit.
I mean, if people started sniffing, you'd probably want to figure out who's making them go that way.
Well, I guess we need to make a decision. We can either pursue this to whatever end we may find, I guess. Or we can go back into the dungeon, which is what I felt you guys wanted to do.
I think I need to stay in the city for a few more days. So I figure out this dream stuff. Lava said he could protect me a bit, but only if I'm, close to him.
Interesting. Yeah. Vincent will look towards Lavos. You deem this an actual threat?
I think
But you
if I
don't
was...
trust me?
Oh,
Dreams
yeah.
are finicky, dear.
I'm
Sometimes
talking,
people
kids.
believe them.
He leans forward and
Sorry,
places
Dad.
his arm on your shoulders. He says, alright, yeah. Gods are tricky. Gods can be scary. I don't want to sugarcoat that. I'm gonna try and figure out what I can do. Be with you. Maybe I can deter this. Maybe I can hold it back for a time. One night as a test is not a bad idea, but with my current power, I doubt that I can go against a god of, a god of a race, especially. Quite powerful. Corlin, Lorethian, very powerful. Right. Grumsh, very powerful. Moradin, they're all insane. Bloody insane, a lot of them. I can attempt to hold it at bay for a time. Dreams are my domain. But right now, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think I gotta spend the day looking into this more. Get to learn with you guys.
Is there anything we can do?
No, you can come with me if you want, but I'm just gonna be going to the Anvil District to maybe talk to my cousin and her foster mother, and maybe I should talk to Mortimer since he's the best chess player I know, so I feel like he's the best strategist I know, so maybe I should talk to him about this. But yeah, I'm just gonna be talking to people that I know. You guys don't need to be around for that unless you want him.
Okay. Well, you have the sending stone, so if anything pops up.
Yeah.
Marcus did give us another visit, so just keep an ear out.
Yeah.
Something
I also, if I want to make it in time for morning training, I gotta go now too.
Oh, yes, the Rift Hunters and all.
Yeah.
Well, I saw... Damn it, what's our stable boy called again?
Fairland.
Fairland.
I saw Fairland outside. He was brushing one of the horses. He should be able to get the carriage up pretty fast.
Yeah, that'd be faster. Running. Okay, great. You guys need anything else, or?
I'm gonna come in the carriage with you because I'm gonna go to the open forums, and also I'm gonna go to the place.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Keep in touch.
All three of you rolls. Let's figure out which one to go first.
13.
Okay, Jojo, Vincent, Matilda. Swap this barn sounds out.
I usually am up to go with you, Jojo, but I was like, you're gonna go see your foster sister. That's a little weird for this. Like,
Oh, she's
random-
she's
your
my cousin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But just your random.
Yeah, it's just
friend.
random NPCs that JoJo's got kicking around.
Yeah.
You want to see my third cousin twice removed? You want to
It's like Matilda being her creepy self in the corner. I was like, no, I'm good.
No.
No.
You
They're the
all,
only orcs I know.
you all begin your day. Here's what I'm going to say. You begin to separate out in the areas of the city that you begin to move. Jojo, in the carriage along with Matilda, you are taken straight through the open forums. Matilda are the opposite direction, but basically, if you ride with Jojo to the Rift Hunters Guild, you then take the carriage. Is that what we're doing?
I think so. I'm getting dropped off, and then Matilda's taking it.
I mean, you're much stronger and more nimble than I am, so you can walk faster and better
Yeah.
than me. So I'm taking the carriage.
I'll be fine.
You arrive at the front of the Rift Hunters Guild, and like a child being dropped off by their parents at the front, you see like most of the people just kind of trudging their way in as this fine carriage pulls up and you step out, and everyone just fucking glares at you briefly before making their way into the front.
Yeah.
Fairland like gives a nod and is like, "Let me know if you would like me to pick you up, my lady. Have a good day at training."
Bye.
Farewell.
Do I notice anyone giving Jojo mean eyes?
Jojo
Matilda would
Is Fairland doing this on purpose?
No, he's just being great.
Oh, okay. I don't
With the
know
mom being
Fairland
like,
good
"Have a
enough
good day
yet.
at school, sweetie."
No, it's just his normal thing. Matilda,
Aw.
as you look around, you can see that a lot of people, it's not even like mean eyes or jealousy or anything. It's literally just like, look at this fucking, look at this.
I'll make sure that I peer out and I'm like stare at them like the scary, creepy doll person that I am, just being like, don't talk to Jill, don't look at Jojo that way.
So now the situation has shifted. Now, as the carriage begins to leave and everything seems all like hunky-dory and family on the surface, the people who are just sitting there kind of laughing look over and just see two dark eyes from the midst of this dark small slit before. And they're just look over and begin to move in towards the guild.
If Jojo hears anyone being like, oh, this person, she's just gonna like flip them off and be like, what, sometimes I sleep in too, okay? Sometimes I need a ride. Fuck off.
Right, yeah. You got lunch in there too. You know, some of us
Maybe.
hunt for our food.
Good for you.
I didn't say it was me. That's assumptions. You're going to fail your written test, aren't you?
Fuck. No, I wouldn't. Fuck off.
Sure. Yeah, sure. We'll see. They move. You don't even know who these people are. But everyone's ready to sling an insult or two. You're fitting right in. As you guys move in through the front door, I will say this. This morning training seems to be a bit more strenuous than the rest.
Okay.
You can see that behind you basically have Max, who is just keeping stride with you, seemingly jogging just effortlessly. And as you are beginning to move throughout the outer courtyard, you can see everyone else is running these individual laps of the property. And he kind of gives a nod to the head off to the side and begins to point up towards the home of Savras, the Hall of Divining. Okay, follow me. He turns and begins to make his way off the course.
Yeah, she follows.
He hits the side. Go ahead and roll athletics.
I will say Jojo does not wear her gauntlets of ogre strength when she does morning training. So what is her strength right now? Gauntlets of ogre power. Take those off. My strength is a 14, so athletics is a +5. 15.
15. As Max is like, hey, follow me. And you're like, okay. And you guys begin to peel off. He's just like, immediately begins to move into an actual running sprint. And as you see him begin to take off, you're like, and immediately try, to the best of your ability, you barely manage to keep him in eye shot. But you begin to circle the Hall of Divining, which is easily 8 times the size of this one training hall of the Rift Hunters. And as you begin to move towards the front gate, you can see people, the studious scholars, moving in and out of the area. He circles around and begins to move out throughout the side of them, hops the entire height of one scholar and lands on the other side as they just duck, holding a book above their head. What do you do?
I think Jojo, in an attempt to keep up, and also jump over this scholar, she's like, yep, let's go. She's gonna rage, and then she'll have advantage on this athletics check. I should roll for magic surge, shouldn't I? Oh, I can't select myself. I'll just roll magic surge. That's a 3. Oh good, I got this exploding flump that's hanging out with me. I technically don't need to summon the exploding flump, so she just won't. But she'll have the advantage on this athletics check. Come on.
I will say this. It doesn't say that you can stop this. And it just says you get to choose what it looks like, but it says an intangible spirit, which looks like a flump for a pixie, your choice, appears within 5 feet of run creature of your choice. Oh yeah, I guess that implies you can choose no one. I'm fine with that.
I mean, if you're making it that I have to, she'll summon it beside herself and take some damage.
Here's what I want to do then. Roll a fate dice.
She can summon it by herself and then run away, and then it explodes at the end of her turn. So I can just have it explode randomly behind her.
I want you to roll fate dice in this instance.
Okay.
Orcs don't look
Perfect.
at explosions.
So as you're running, just basically underfoot, a dust cloud pops up and just kind of forms itself into this just spaghetti strand monster. And hovers there for a second, looking around, trying to discern its own existence as you begin to run. Your athletics, was that the 15 here you rolled?
No, that was the last one. I will re-roll. I'll just roll normal athletics and then -2 from it. That is -2 from that, so 17?
17. The scholar ducks underneath Max, so you get like a couple of, like maybe a foot of less height than he had, which maybe irks you, because it's a little bit of an easier jump than the one he did. But as the scholars down here holding like a book above their head, they look over towards you and you're already in the air above them. All they see is a flump in the distance going that just explodes into confetti as you land on the other side and just begin to run after Max.
Nice.
You reach the other side.
I could have just cast boost.
Oh well. You reach the other side, and as you round the blind corner, running at full speed to try and keep up with Max, roll a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Do I see it?
No, not with your passive perception.
Okay. Dexterity saving throw. Normal. That's just a 12.
A cart, like a push cart, is suddenly in the way. As you turn the corner, just woof, with this wicked swing, you're slammed into by this cart that just blows up into individual pieces on top of you.
No.
You take 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are knocked prone.
6. Okay.
The anger and the just chaotic energy that surrounds you dulls this blow, and you can see as Max is standing there holding on to 2 just pieces of the cart. He's like, tosses them to the side and reaches a hand out to help you up.
Ow. She'll slowly take it.
He smiles and nods and like repeatedly is like, that was a good choice, because he shocking grasps you.
Oh, good. Love it.
This is a 2-hit. Perfect. You're not wearing any metal because that would be just
Nope.
silly. The lightning moves like into your arm, cross your arm down, grounds through your hand and out into the ground beneath you. And then Max picks you up to full height and just begins to dust you off. Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah, quite the static shock there.
I tell you what,
Tingled.
I'm gonna cut to the chase on this one, right? You're doing pretty good. You're keeping up with training. You're coming out and about. You're dedicated. You're flipping people off with the best of them. You know? Jocelyn seems to have taken a liking to you as well. So, we've put in for a movement. Alright? To move you up from just being a member to a whelp. You'll be a real part of the guild soon. What this comes with, however, is one of 2 things. You can challenge Jocelyn to combat,
Okay.
or you can undertake a mission. Do you have a preference of the 2?
Well, I really want to do the first one. I know she's 4th rank. So, do I have to win? Is that part of the challenge?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay, great. Well, I'll do it.
All right. He turns around and begins to look back, and he says, we'll get something prepared for you. Might take a little while. Jocelyn herself is out on a mission right now, but you done good.
Thanks.
Good start, kid. Let's see how far we can go. Now follow me back. And he turns and just...
Okay. And she'll just continuously just keep on casting boost once the rage fails. She's like, boost, 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 boost.
Boost, boost, punch to the face. Boost, boost, punch to the face. Making your way back towards the original training route, the morning comes to a head, and the carriage pulls away, moving itself through the streets until eventually... So the open forms, Matilda... Actually, Jojo would know where they are in the first place. You've probably passed by them a few times. So, Matilda, you find yourself beginning to move down the city streets. Just to the north of the circle, within the marble sites, you find an auspicious courtyard.
This is where the open forum is.
You begin to move, and as you guide your young Fairlin through and around, you find the Lavender Cafe sat just a brief distance away. Moving into this kind of just large and brilliant red-roofed complex, you cycle around and find a massive pagoda-like gate barring entry before, as you begin to arrive, the carriage itself, the horses just continue moving forward. Fairland's like, oh, whoa, hey, stop! As he begins to pull back on the reins, the horses just like jerk back for a brief moment before shaking their heads and continuing forward, as though they are entranced.
Oh.
Do you do anything about this?
What's going? Do I hear the commotion going on outside the cart?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not stopping?
I don't know, ma'am. They're just, I don't know. He's pulling back on the reins, and you can see them kind of moving, rearing slightly, and then just moving back into position. The manual doesn't cover this. And he pulls out a manual he wrote.
The page is like, page 1, horse go. Page 2, pull reins, horse stop. Like, what?
Horse part forward, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go sit beside, what's his face? Fairland?
Fairland, yeah.
Yeah, at the front. I'll like have an ED-BD ready and we'll ride this out and see where we're going.
It's a bit precarious. You basically like open up the side door and are attempting to sidle along the other side of the carriage as it's moving. Actually, it's not even moving very quickly. You can just jump off, run, hop up. Not super hard. But as you jump up, you pull out your hands and you just crackling energy begins to alight within them. The gate that is down in front of you, the horses just pass through it. The entire thing wavers briefly, and as you enter onto the inside, the horses just turn, and you can see other carriages lined up. They just begin to take position, moving into place and parking themselves off to the side before each of them in tandem head up, head down into this small bit of water, and they begin to drink. Fairland's like, all right. Looking around, you can see that people are moving about, lots of different people, bunch of different walks of life, as you can see within this kind of area, and a large commune of Ogma family members, as you can see from prominently displayed ashballs. But Fairland kind of gets off and looks towards the horses and is like, "You okay, guys?" Begins to like pet their manes as they drink still in unison with the other horses, just this echoing drink.
It's like a Tesla. It's like self-driving.
Oh, I was like, is that what Tesla's recharging sounds like?
Like horses? No, it's just the self-driving bit. I will fizzle out my ED-BD because like as soon as I realized we were like in the Ogma house, Matilda like puts her ED-BD hand behind her back and like lets it fizzle out. And goes to walk up to someone and see if we're at the right place.
You approach, you can see prominently displayed above the, actually on a small and well-maintained golden plaque, set in the front is a single scroll that has been kind of tacked in at 4 sides, completely blank. That is the marker. As people approach and look at it, they just place a hand down and they seem to put like just a print down. Pressing down on the paper itself turns the handprint black and it slowly fades, and then they enter into the main gate. You ascertain this to be related to Ogma in some way, certainly. But Jojo had previously confirmed this is indeed the open portal.
I copy what the other people are doing and see if I can get in.
You place your hand down on the paper and you press down. A black hand mark most certainly appears and then fades slowly. The doorway opens for you. As you look inward into this just large open Athenaeum, you can see this just open roof at the top with scalped and rounded rooftops, giant marble pillars that hoist up hundreds of feet to hold the roof, and various different lecture halls, and in the center, one dug-in circular pit of various different stairs that are being just repeatedly dug downward. Within that area, someone is standing and just posturing repeatedly, but no words can be heard from your current location. There are several of these in a line of various different people seemingly having silent conversations.
Is there an information desk anywhere? It seems like you go get information and figure out what's going on. Or if not, if she can't notice anything, she might just get closer to meet one of the people Hamlet speaking.
Lots of different rooms off to the side, but you don't see anything that accounts to like an organizational information desk. You begin to move forward, and as you can see this just circular pit of stairs and bleachers, practically stone carved downwards. As soon as you come within range of that circle, you hear the just faint mumbles of words, and passing through the boundary, you hear the conversation going on. Various different kind of one person standing in the center talking about the future of trade with CERN and how we can't let them have the monopoly that they desire upon this. And then someone just stands up from the steps and begins to walk down, and in a more boisterous voice says, "You certainly cannot deny the amount of prolific merchants coming their way," and just this open conversation constantly taking place. As you begin to hear this like echoing out around you, and you have no idea how you could not have heard this from the entrance. There's whatever kind of strange spell is going on here. It's interesting. Things are new in this area, as far as you can tell. But the camera pulls up out the open roof and begins to move its way towards Vincent.
He was heading down to the Heart's Desires. He wanted to speak with Rosa, so he'll basically get into the carriage, and it's pretty early in the morning, but he knows that she's usually up around this time. And he'll head up to his home, basically.
Where in this district, because I don't think we've actually placed the pin down yet, where did you want the Heart's Desires to be?
I think we picked out a place for it already.
I think it was this one.
I thought it was like
that one?
Of the buildings.
Ooh, look at that building. You got like a staircase on the exterior leading up to a pool. I like it.
Right across the street from the...
Across the street from the Black Sheep, yeah. You go up on the deck and you can look over and be like, my empire. Look at all of the people on the street below. Hello, people. Come into my 2 buildings. No, Vincent, you find yourself at the exterior of the Heart's Desires in the morning. Carson pulling aside with the carriage to the designated carriage spot. He parks the Heart's Desires branded carriage, trademark, and you step out.
It's actually got Vincent's trademark on it. It's got a V with a like sort of a W in the background with a swoosh at the end.
It's that one right there. I'll put that in post.
And then he'll head up to his home and just check and see if Rose is there.
Entering in and going up, you do not need to get very far. She's kind of on the ground floor, looking over the area and kind of glancing down towards the stage and kind of just. As you kind of approach, what do? You can see she's pretty enamored in whatever it is she's doing.
I think he'll come up behind her and then sort of connect mentally into her and be like, "This is something you don't find appealing, dear."
She stops and kind of like stands up for a moment and turns around and looks towards you, and she says, "It's not the..." Oh, I'm sorry. In her head, she turns and continues to examine the stage, or the area behind, and says, "It's not that there's something here that's bad. It's just that I'm wondering what else could go here. The space is very well utilized, but perhaps a water fountain or something along those lines in the corner back there? What do you feel about that?"
I don't hate the idea, and if it's something you want, dear, I'm sure it'll work out.
We can make it work. I mean, we have magic galore. We can just have the water go somewhere, right? There's like a whole plane of water somewhere. Maybe we can just pull from that? I don't know.
Are you, I'm assuming you're settled in now that you want to come down and start changing things.
I don't want to change anything, don't get me wrong. What you have here is absolutely lovely. But I am very settled in. It was very easily made to be so.
That's good. And Vincent will just like walk over and kind of lean in and give her a kiss on the cheek. Well, things are gonna pick up a bit soon. for some family business, and I'll probably be heading back into the dungeon. I was wondering if you could do me a favor while I'm gone. Now that
Absolutely.
You're here. The Black Sheep has come under different management. I know you like to keep busy. So I was thinking of putting Carson in a somewhat different scenario, utilize him elsewhere. And that means I would like you to watch this. Is that acceptable?
It's only been a very short time, and already I was quite bored, I must say. I am not one to sit still. Danella must be going crazy with the amount of time I've been putting into trying to teach her every little thing. Also, and she leans in again and gives you a kiss on the side, the other cheek, and says, I fired one of your maitre d's. Sorry. I made him think I fired him, but I know I didn't actually have the ability to do so, but if you wanted to keep him, he was kind of trying to steal some of your money. So I don't know if you want to do something about that, but I could also do something about that if you like.
Let's say give him the roses special. It's fun.
She smiles. I don't know what that is, but I'll have to make one.
I'm sure you'll come up with something. Thank you for flagging that to me. I'll speak with Carson. That shouldn't have gone unnoticed, but things have been busy, so it's fine. Things will happen, or people like that we'll deal with them in due time.
I like to think the best of people, always. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind talking to him again once we've made this more of an official capacity.
Oh, well, Vincent will lead her into his kind of office area. It's got like a lounge and stuff, and pull out some papers. I've already sort of assumed and kind of put the paperwork through, so it's not very difficult to move you along and get you into management here.
As she pulls out small spectacles, sits down, and immediately begins thumbing through. She's like, you know I'm going to read all of these. Of course. It's not that I don't trust you, but paperwork. She sits down and just smiles, looking down at it. How I've missed you.
He'll kind of like put the paperwork, and she's like going to grab it or hold it, and he'll put it down for a second. It's actually something else I came to talk to you about today. A little bit more important than this.
Okay. She puts down the papers and takes off her glasses.
I know you've moved in and made yourself settled, and frankly, it was always meant to be this way, so I'm glad you're here. But I wanted to be honest with you, Rosa. There's someone else I'm also looking into.
Who is it? Is it Carmina?
Vincent doesn't smile, but he just kind of like gives her a little bit of a nod. You do have good taste.
I don't know what you may have. I came on very strong last time. I know I was. I got a little bit out there. I didn't want to force anything. To be honest with you, we grew up together. I know you. You know me. I know that you are not a one-person kind of thing. I mean, I was the one scheduling you for a time. It's, thank you for bringing this up to me, though. I really appreciate that.
Well, dear, I'd rather things go over smoothly. Like I told you before, if you want to be with me, I will definitely give you everything you need. And I want you to be here as well.
She stands up and says, well, then it's decided. She places the papers down and begins to look at them. She looks over towards you and says, tell Carmina to wear the blue dress.
Oh, I'm not sure if things are quite as along as that, but eventually I can work that in.
Let me know when she's going to wear it. I'll accessorize. She looks down towards the papers and begins to thumb through. Was there anything else? I'm very busy. She smiles.
No, I think this is good. And he'll stand up and lean over and give her another kiss. Also, has Tristan been... I know you would like to work on your own clothes and your wardrobe and stuff. You should speak with him. You can give him some ideas.
Lux is, like... He's really hard to get, like, a read on. He feels great. But something's a little off, I guess.
He has his own business, and he likes to keep it secret. Just give him his space. But he'll come around, especially if you give him ideas. He goes nuts over those.
I'll keep him busy. I also have a little picture of Rosa here.
Where is she?
There you are. Which one of the two? Which one is spicier? It's huge! Rosa takes up 3/4 of the city. Here you
I
are.
don't see anything.
I will be showing
there's
you, right?
Oh, there's two. That's neat.
Yeah.
Rosa takes that kiss on the side of the cheek and offers you one in return. Before returning to the area, she leans in and just says, I will need a desk. And then smiles and returns to her paperwork.
He just starts to go over a couple things. He's still going to stay there for maybe about another hour or so, sort out some things, and then essentially head back to the family home. Both Alexi and this noble dude are supposed to meet us there today, so.
Okay. And then the morning comes around, and the rest of the party meets up and then splits to accrue their own daily dealings. We circle through once more. Jojo, we now find you. After morning training at the Rift Hunters Guild, the guild itself has small events usually going on, but it's more of a central hub for people, similarly to the interface office, to arrive, take on missions, offers things like trade goods. Some people live here in the dorms. There's a training room and a exterior training yard that is pretty much always in use. Lots of resources available as well for people who are kind of just looking to do a bit of brushing up.
Do I know the missions here? Are they something that JoJo could do with her family, or are they things that JoJo could do during downtime? I guess is my question with the missions.
The missions that are offered here are both ones that they're basically CTAs and CFAs, but specifically aimed towards the Rift Hunters Guild. For the most part, you would gain a chaperone for your mission with another party member, or if multiple party members are part of the guild, you can kind of they look favorably on partying with that. But the families are all at the heart of this. Pretty much the entire economy of Amaranth has had to work around the dungeon and the families.
Okay,
So if you were to take a mission here, you could bring your family, and then they would likely also tag along either a higher rank or a lower rank person.
Okay, so
kind of
basically
go with you.
JoJo being part of the Rift Hunters Guild gives us a bigger list of missions we could take.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes. JoJo's gonna head down to the Anvil district and go to Arjun and Shell's house.
Are you going to take a carriage?
I think I should. It's a busy day. I think JoJo would rather run, but she's like, I don't know if I have time.
It's going to give you a nice straight line here. As you begin to move throughout the city, a few things are pretty fun. Passing through the gates, you can see that there seems to be somewhat of a commotion within the area.
Huh?
Passing through the bridge between the gates and the cobble den is actually closed. However, you have to, as you reach the side, you end up having to go around through the northwestern part of the city, through the outskirts, rather, of the Seldarine fence. Very, very rarely do people travel through the forests itself. But circling about and around, you enter back into the cobble den from the north, and you find that almost this entire section of city down here, just outline this with green, has been somewhat quarantined. You see there's a lot of guards there.
Ooh.
There's a lot
It's
going
likely
on.
to do with the auction, right?
Yes. You ascertain there's something going on with that. But as the
Okay.
carriage kind of pulls around and takes you through the southern area of the Cobble Den, passing through Perissa, the domain of Yondala, you make your way into the end. Passing through the area, you can see that the number of refugees that have taken root here from the eastern seaboard of the city also begins to grow. You can see that there's quite a few people just standing out and about with signs saying, like, looking for work. Laborer. There was a huge amount of labor that was displaced from the seaboard, as I'm sure you would have known from your travels in the past. And quite a lot going on within the area. But as you move in and you hop out of this carriage at the entrance to the anvil, what do you do? Where do you go?
I head over to what I imagine. I really picture this house looking like a shack, but like a well-maintained wooden house, but like it has like this porch and these like a bunch of wind chimes of just like seashells and like random like bits and bobs. Some of them are like made of bones, and like so Arjun, Jojo's cousin, when her mother and Jojo's father both went into the dungeon, Arjun moved in with Shell, who is like a sage among the orc people. So she's sort of just like, it's just like a sage's house. Typical, like it smells of incense and just like has all these bits and bobbins of random, like sort of like creepy looking things. I'm sure Matilda would actually love it here. Maybe I should have brought it.
Yeah, it's not your
yeah.
speed, Matilda, and then you go to the most occult home you've ever been in.
Yeah. And so Jojo like tries to walk in and pops into some of these like, I think it's like sort of impossible to get through the door without like hitting a few wind chimes to like alert them of your presence.
You begin to move in, and on the other side of the room, you just hear faint bits of shuffling. The entire room itself is somewhat long. It leans back, well, long, like widthwise. As you enter into the room, there's a lot of space to your left, a lot of space to your right. And as you begin to look about, you can hear just on another side of this back wall, a little bit of shuffling.
Arjun? Shell?
You do not see Arjun, but you do see Shell, who rounds the corner and is like, Jojo.
Hey.
You've come
Been a
in
while.
with questions, yes?
Yeah, I have.
It has been a while. Do you have the tribute?
Right, the tribute.
You didn't bring it, did you?
No, I didn't bring a tribute.
There's an extra one on the windowsill.
Oh, okay. So she like goes over and collects what I imagine is like just a little tiny like carving of like a little statue.
And astride that, an eye patch.
Oh, is that the tribute? Is it an eye patch?
You do have a small figurine. It is a figurine of Groomch. But basically, it looks like kind of just very, very large, nondescript orc. There's actually several of these carvings that you also see around the home. And a black eye patch. That is,
Alright.
in this, just tantamount to a black torn-up bandana.
She'll take both. Here you
Put
go.
it on.
Oh, right. Does Shell have one eye? Has she done that? Okay.
Shell has the right eye missing. But you've actually never seen what amounts to the inside of it. She always has her eye, like, just aggressively closed.
So it's possible she has an eye and she's hiding it. She's
you've-
really good at
You got no idea, but it would take a lot of dedication to keep it
Yeah.
closed just forever. You
Yeah.
move over to the side and you sit down. This table goes straight to the ground. There is no room for your legs underneath, but she sits on the other side, just like legs wide astride, and places her elbows down and says, "What questions do you have?"
I have questions about Ilnaval. I've been having dreams. I've been having weird dreams for a while, but Ilnaval's been coming to me in my dreams.
Oh, a
and
blessing or a
challenging-
challenge?
A challenge.
I see. Elneval, though
he employs cruelty. He's not one of cruelty himself. At least he wasn't. Mortal coil, I don't know. But Ilnival was not within the city, as far as I know.
No.
Such would
We're
cause
like-
issues, I think.
We're like on this like cube in space.
Ah, Acheron.
After
The
all.
ancient orcs had called it home for a time, yes. So they say. But the scholars of this fine city that we find ourselves in now seem to believe that Acheron is unachievable. Locked away.
Maybe it's not the real Archeron?
Perhaps a proxy, or some kind of other thing that's similar to that.
Does Jojo know anything about the ethereal plane being like a pathway to other planes? Or is that not knowledge she would have?
Roll Arcana.
Can the Gambit help?
Yes. Are you proficient? Yes, you are.
Yes.
Totally can.
Attributes. Arcana.
I think Gambit at this point, which like should not be able to be done, but still does anyway, just rubs two tendrils together and then goes to like just help excite your neurons.
Nice. Yeah, that's a 22.
22. The ethereal plane is a plane of consciousness. It is a plane that exists in various different stages as well. You have the border ethereal, which would be what you're able to transport into with spells like Blink, but then you have the deep ethereal, which is just the consciousness not only of those who travel the world, but of the worlds itself.
Oh.
Though it is not technically possible to like safely and comfortably and confidently traverse, at least as far as the scholars of Amaranth know, to traverse the ethereal plane with any kind of certainty of your destination, you will inevitably just get lost within the ether and likely go mad.
Ooh. Okay.
Though, if there is a connection to other planes, you may probably not be able to traverse through it. But it does connect to all planes.
Okay. Yeah, or maybe it's through dreams. Maybe it's like a dream version. Although I don't know why I'd be dreaming about it if I've never seen it. It does seem like it has to do with ash bonds, though. I don't know. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Has Ilnival... I mean, you knew it was a challenge, possibly. Does he do this often?
All I know of Ilnival within the years, I've heard rumors. Rumors of a great war that took place far to the east long ago. A rampaging horde of orcs that had taken just past Groomsh's fall at the gates of Amaranth. They gathered his forces. The outcome of that battle, I'm afraid I don't know. Not as many orcs travel from those forgotten lands now. And those that do swear groups to be a false god. Not my kind. Whether or not he's done something like this in the past, I can't say for sure, but he is wily. He is the war maker. If he is reaching out to you, I can assure you he has plans. If this is a challenge, it's going to be difficult for you.
Yeah.
Here, let me try and make you something. Just stay here, just right there. Should be fine.
Okay.
She stands, and she's not as old as all of this would
Yeah.
have her believe. She basically like stands up and just spryly begins to move over to the other side of the room. Still just
I love that.
buff as fuck. Right, just moves over and just like picks up a cabinet and places it down on another cabinet and opens it up and just begins to like huge hands move through all this delicate stuff. But she sits, and as she turns her way back, she begins to take this chunk of what looks like maybe some kind of andesite stone, and then pulls out a finely honed shark tooth knife, similarly to your own shark tooth blade, and begins to just chip away at it. And she says, "This might take a while, but I don't know if it might help you. I'm going to just carve a figure of Ilnival.
maybe as tribute.
Okay. Where's Arjun at?
Arjun has traveled out into the city. It seems as though some of the difficulties with what's been going on in the east have come our way, so he's trying to gather some resources for the rest of the orcs in the area.
The trouble in the east?
The water rising has displaced
Oh.
many of us.
Right.
She looks at you and she says, "You haven't left the city in a while, have you?"
Not in a few months.
Good. I think we
Why?
should stay inside for a while. Don't you worry about it. It's not for you to worry about.
She begins to carve.
You're just a young one.
Okay.
Continues carving. The camera pulls away because you will be here for quite a while.
Yeah.
She is basically whittling at stone, and you can just see sparks flying as little chips come off every now and then. She's like, "That was a good one." And just keeps going.
Good chip.
Good chip, good chip. I've lost my turn order. Matilda was next, yes.
I was, yes.
Matilda, you find yourself in the open forum. These various different conversations are going out, about, around, and abound. What do you do?
I want to kind of like peruse the aisles, you know what I mean, of like what conversations are happening, and see if I can find ones that particularly interest Matilda about, like, say, the dungeon, or about like missing people, like any of the things that she's been like really researching. But then she also, if there's not really a lot that's like piquing her interest, she'll take into account the people that seem like super fanatical about like sharing information. You know how people are sometimes, well, they're just like, what? They're just like really into the whole process of dialogue and information sharing. She'll keep that in mind too, and then maybe just kind of stay and suss them out. So she has a plan B if she doesn't find what she's looking for information-wise.
I will say, go ahead and roll perception in this front.
Oh. Whoa! Sorry, hold on. I did something to my mouse and now it's like hypersensitive. Ah! Okay. I need to roll perception. Am I allowed to guide myself, Adrian?
Within here, you see spells going off every few feet. Various
Okay.
different people all the time.
Pew, pew, pew. Oh, bad.
10. Moving around, the only thing you really take in, because it's just, this place is really cool.
Yeah.
The only thing you really take in from what you had previously been looking for is that there's two kinds of people. The fanatical ones, who seem to make up the large percentage of the people here, and ones who are sitting back, some of which more storied and wizened, who are just listening to everything going on and never even speak up. As you glance about, nothing of particular interest to what's been going on with you is taking place within the area, but there's so many people that it's incredibly difficult to even maintain one conversational topic.
Okay.
Even moving from one to the other, it begins this conversation about, farming, that moves slowly to why in the ever-loving hell are bees capable of flight. But it just moves piece to piece. And as we sit back and take a look, you do notice one thing. You don't see too many tieflings about within the city. There's some, there's quite a few, but not nearly as many as the humans. And this one tiefling stands out amongst everybody else. They stand on the other side of this area and have been actively watching what's been going on in the 3 central pits since the beginning of the talks. Just in no attempt to hide themselves, standing up on top of a chair, standing on the chair, looking over with hands crossed and just keeping an eye on everything that's been going on. Bright red skin that kind of covers against the wall.
And do they have a symbol of the place I'm at? Remember you said there was a bunch of people with certain, god symbol.
You see, roll religion. They do not seem to be bearing the symbol of Ogma.
Religion! This is too quick, I can't guide myself.
No, you have time.
Okay. Oh, good! Ah!
Give me one moment. 20? Beautiful. You recognize this symbol as the symbol of a god who came down from this from an unknown location and has taken root within the city, Talathi.
They're kind of similar to Lavos in the sense of that they're kind of just like, we're here.
It's a similar vein in that they were relatively unknown before arriving within the city. It's not unheard of that gods from from various different planes that no one's ever worshipped or known of would appear here. It's happened several times, but this is one of them.
I kind of want to sidle up to them. You like hearing anything good?
They look down at you for a moment, eye you up and down, seeing kind of just this human that's approached, and they take a step down from the chair and just walk away in silence.
Oh. Well, you vacated it, so I stand up in their chair. And I start kind of listening, or like watching like they were and seeing if I can see what they were looking at.
Roll investigation.
Can I guide myself again? No?
Yeah, you have, but nothing is really like of the essence in this moment.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I don't like to assume that I can.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
27.
Yeah,
As you take your place in this corner and look about, you actually ascertain that this is basically like, this is not the vantage point that they were taking. You're sitting down on this chair, and as you look about, you see just kind of the backs of people, and you're, this is not great. Like some nearby books and scrolls, you just grab them and throw them down and stand at a taller height that you previously had been, trying to match the same height of that person.
Yeah.
And as you glance around, you can see that the people in these individual pits, the ones talking, they almost seem to take these mathematic shapes.
Oh.
As you are looking, you can see that that person over there is standing in this, like, wearing this purple robe. This person over here is wearing this purple robe. It almost seems to spell out some kind of fractal pattern. But as you're looking at it and they begin to move, you begin to just draw images between them. There seems to be a conversation going on in this place that is nonverbal. Being told by the clothing and the various different people who are currently here. In this just strange and long sought out pattern.
Since I can visualize it and see it, if I was to kind of like draw the fractal patterns, could I use comprehend languages as a ritual to try and understand what they're trying to say?
Comprehend languages does not grant you hidden meanings. It just gives you the literal depiction of whatever language it is that you're currently looking at.
Okay.
So
It
like,
could be a normal language. Yeah.
Okay.
it also just gives, like, if this is, symbols doesn't necessarily equate.
Okay. What Matilda will do is she will use her keen mind to kind of like scan the symbols they're creating and kind of like lock them in there for her to draw later to see if she can extrapolate any meaning from them at all. They might just be something cool that happens when they start dialoguing, but she's kind of curious about that. No one was talking about the dungeon today, right?
Within the area, a few topics. The dungeon usually comes up, but for the most part, there's a lot of like fear surrounding it. The dungeon itself as a topic right now is quite a hot take because it seems like there's movement in the dungeon. But a lot of people are saying like, we should tax the dungeon. The dungeon should give us its due, and various different stuff like that.
Those dang young whippersnappers heading into the dungeon.
Do you see the gold they're coming out with? That should be part of the city. Think of the economic boom in the midst of the like largest economic boom of all time.
I want to try and find a good moment for Matilda to step in, and she wants to put forth a question about the people that are going missing in the city.
Okay, so you begin to move forward. There are 3 pits, basically. One, as you've ascertained, is about philosophy. One is about kind of politics. And then one is about almost religious topics. Which do you choose?
Okay, Can we remind me about when we saw that people were missing and they were being taken from that farm to the other place? Do we remember whose family was in charge of that, or was it the cult, or was it like something else?
What do you refer? Family in charge of what?
Of like where the farm is? That's in like a Melora's district, right?
Shantia's district.
Oh, Shantia, sorry.
Shantia is the main goddess who controls it, but it was actually in Demeter's district.
Okay.
Which I believe is the proper
Is where the
pronunciation.
apple cider farm was located. Yes.
Demeter's district.
Yeah. I don't think we ever saw anything to do with Demeter, like
No.
in our, but the apple cider dudes were in the district. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the politics one. And kind of like step in and be like, who do you think would arrange for monstrous races to be kidnapped and stolen under the guise of under people's noses?
You approach, basically they're speaking about the person at the center is like, I don't entirely believe this. You see this tall half-elven man, long hair pulled back into a kind of a ponytail that then puffs out into like spheres and just continues down to the halfway point of the back. I don't entirely believe what we're saying here. I can't look about and think we should be closing the walls. What is it that you all think is out there that's so afraid? We sit in the center of a society with beasts at the heart of it. An unknown magic that spires up, and you walk in, you're like, so why do you what do you think about people who would there is virtually no like walk in to it. Basically, they start talking, they don't stop talking until someone cuts them off to bring up a new topic to talk about X. But as you pose your question, they say, hello, I can tell that you must be new here. However, you do not pose a question, young lady. You pose a theory, a thought, an idea for debate. Did you wish to repose your question? You can see some people in the audience are looking amongst each other and talking about it.
Yes, please. I have noticed that there have been a lot of monstrous races going missing in the city without people noticing or really caring. So, discuss.
He stops and says, I repeat, once more. Have you a theory or an idea on this process? Or
From what I know, I think they're stealing them on purpose to find a way to eradicate them from the city.
The people in the audience kind of begin to listen in and say, it's quite an accusation. Do you know who these they are? Or any idea they're in? You can see that several of the older people, the ones who are just sitting and not really talking, begin to lean in and like raise an eyebrow looking towards each other like, ooh, spicy.
Possibly the Lyrian Order?
Once again, people begin to talk amongst themselves. He says, this is what I mean. We should be looking within the city, but we should not be closing our doors to the exterior people. And begins to use your own point to try and bring back his own conversation. And now he's diverting away from you to pull towards yours. As this continues and the conversation begins to build, and you can see that this guy is now working like off of your statement. You have competition here. But the camera pulls away. We went Jojo. We went Matilda. We are now Vincent again.
One thing, since we're doing this, so I'll just go wait at the family home until those things happen. Vincent will ask Carson when he's arranged for Alexi and Esteban to come. Is there time that he could stop somewhere before they come to the family home?
Oh yes, of course. Alexei is to be arriving actually rather late into the evening. I've prepared a small dinner for him if he wishes. And Esteban is to be in the late afternoon. So we've quite a bit of time.
Stop by The Threads of Fate. I'd like to go see someone there.
Do you know where this is?
Carmina did give Vincent a district that it's located in. I can't remember. I didn't write it down.
It was in the circle. Let me go ahead and find this.
It's in the circle.
I'm sorry. It was the Dennery. That was my mistake. I specifically remember this. Carson takes the carriage and begins to move towards the heart of the Dennery. Where are you on this map? Perfect. You are carried through the center of the city. There seems to be some kind of commotion going about, but as you begin to move through, you can see that there's some small street festivals that have begun within the center of the Dennery.
Does Vincent know what these are based on the time of year? Are these normal, or is this new?
Looking at it, I will have you roll history.
Do I gain advantage for living in the city? And he's gone around the Dennery quite a bit because his mom lived there.
Yes, you have advantage on this one.
18.
18. One more. Looking throughout the area, glancing at the stalls, you can see that it's incredibly colorful. Various different arrangements of flowers and large swaths of food that have been placed out. You can see that there's like barrels of oil that have been off to the side, and there's people selling wares. Just like as you pass by, someone like approaches the carriage and it's just like, "You look like a lad who would like some hair grease. Anybody hair grease?" And then the carriage pulls away and Carson looks down towards him and just shakes his head. You don't know what you're talking about. Anybody, come this way. As everything, you can just see people shilling out. This is likely some kind of end of season festival. But every time you had seen these in the past, they were not as grand as what's going on right now. It's very widespread throughout the Dennery.
He's just gonna let Carson know to keep an eye out for anything that seems odd, but to continue through this.
Passing through and around, you make your way towards the entrance of the Threads of Fate Enchanter. The entire area is bereft of this strange festival and is filled with adventurers. You see people in full gear who are coming in and out of the area. You see people going to this fine clothing shop down the way, circling around with just bags of gold.
Okay. As just before Vincent hops out of the carriage, he's going to cast awe on himself. And he will basically get out and arrange his outfit and look up and kind of assess. He'll let Carson know to wait near the carriage and he'll head in if it's open.
You push through the front doors and you can see that there are two lineups of people leading in towards the center, some of which holding staves in hand, some of which then various different people perusing the area. You can see in glass cases a few items, but grand total, there's maybe 10 things on display in this store. Very fine-looking marble flooring and a nice, airy, kind of open atmosphere. People in the back just hectically taking orders, and someone in the center who approaches with a hot towel and hands it to you and says, "It might be a bit of a wait, good sir. If you would not mind, here is a number. Are you preparing to wait for a brief time?"
Vincent kind of assesses the situation. Is it just seem like the store is really busy, or is there something else going on here?
It's super busy. The people at the front are hectic.
Okay. I have a little bit of time. I can wait.
I thank you for your patience, good patron. Here you are, and if you have any needs, we have water on display. It's only 4 gold. And he moves over towards the next person and offers him a hot towel as they enter in. You see this small family of halflings enters in and begins to peruse and has absolutely no intention of buying anything and is just making the whole situation worse. But you sit and some time begins to pass. I think Tamara, you were not muted there?
Sorry.
All
That's
good.
okay.
You begin to wait. Someone approaches from behind and says, I'll give you 400 gold for your spot.
Me?
It's probably a good 20 minutes into where you are now, and you've moved forward one person. Someone enters in, the line now is now out the door, and they approach and offer you 400 gold for your spot.
I'm sorry, dear, but that's just it. Vincent's actually going to scan. Can he see any of the employees or like maybe the owner?
As you say you're not interested and you begin to look around, the guy moves around to your side. Go as high as 5. Time's of the essence.
He ignores the individual.
All right, this one. Someone at the front points over towards you, Vincent, and then gives you a nod towards the back room.
He just looks down towards the individual and gives him a slight like head nod and heads in.
You move to the front. You can see several people in line just pissed right the fuck off. And you see some other people in line with a nice hefty bag of gold as they're beginning to leave. You make your way in towards the back, and you see a much calmer environment. The din of the people behind you just fades away, and the sound of relaxing harp begins to pour out around you. There is a central individual sitting in a chair in front of a crystal ball that is probably 6 feet in diameter, hoisted above and just held in place with various different strange gray-black stones, just keeping it hovering within the center. They turn and they begin to look at you and they say, "Who have you come for today?"
I don't actually know their name. Carmina recommended I come down here. It's the owner of this fine establishment.
Let's see. Coming to Valentine, then.
Of course, dear. One and only.
Very well. In front of you, the individual turns. You can see that they were, for your best guess, some kind of sea elf. They stand, they move like a pale blue skin, and you can see gills formed on the side. Moving from one place to the next with this fluidity, they go behind a curtain on the far back. You can see that there's about 4 of these flanking the area. They open up the curtain, it's just dark. They enter in, the darkness subsides, and the curtain hits its original position. After 10-15 seconds, a brilliant looking young man, maybe 16 years old, maybe, approaches from the side and looks in towards you and says, "I have something to do here today. It's a little bit interesting. Would you mind if I tried it? Before we get to the boring stuff of whatever it is that you want."
Can I insight check this individual? Because to Vincent, this seems like a child, right?
Yeah, their age alone makes it seem difficult to express years and years of incredibly ornate knowledge that comes with enchanting. Go ahead and roll insight.
Ooh, still a 10.
The way he looks at you, he seems very straightforward. He's very blunt.
Vincent kind of gives him like a little eye up and down. I have a little bit of time. What do you have in mind?
Yes. It's, well, how old are you?
29.
Okay. How would, 2 years sound? Taking them, not giving them.
Away?
To me.
Taking 2 years of my life and giving it to you.
Oh, math,
is difficult, isn't it? No, what I'm saying is, you would become 27, right? And I would become, younger. If you're okay with that. Because you have to be. It won't work otherwise.
Vincent just holds out his hand to give him like a handshake.
Looks at it for a second and then reaches forward and grabs your hands with one hand and then the other and shakes it. Okay.
Feel them.
It's gonna be good. Roll Arcana. He's going to as well.
What is with these ones? Jeez. 3.
Closes his eyes, places his hands on yours, and begins to focus. And then he takes one hand and places it on that ball, and then he flips your hand and places it on the ball, and then the two of you begin to focus, but you see the light on the interior of it kind of move like a storm illuminated from within, that quickly just one single bolt of electrical energy reaches towards the side, touches both of your hands at once, crackling energy meets in the center, and then fizzles out and disperses. He turns and is like, fuck! Damn it! Well, I mean, inconclusive. No, it didn't. Anyway, thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. What brought you here? I can go ahead and ask that.
Vincent will just kind of like give a little head nod about. My name is Vincent Goldwater. Carmina recommended I come down to get some formulas made by you.
Goldwater. Oh. He turns, he brings a leg back, he sweeps it backwards, he takes like a side pose towards you, places a hand down at his clothes, and gives you a very regal bow. You barely remember this. Roll history.
Okay, it wasn't a 1. 21.
You saw your mother do this like once. Ever. When you were incredibly young. And it was towards an individual who kind of had approached your guys' home. And then they had a bit of an altercation, and then she sent them away and did this bow in like almost like insultingly. Just be like, yes, of course, have a good day. And then turned back towards you and gave a smile and picked you up and began to move about. This individual, not old enough to know that. Whatever the hell that was. It seemed antiquated to you even back then.
Okay. So after he does this like little bow thing, I guess Vincent's just like, so do you have some free time to put these together? The formulas, dear.
You seem rich? 500 gold wasn't enough to sway you out of line, so that's good. You'll probably need to be rich.
Do you usually have this sort of sales tactic at your shop?
I mean, we're good enough that we don't really need to sell anything. People come to us to buy things. So, yes and no. If you want formulas made, I can absolutely make them. What is it that you're looking to make? You said you already have the item. That's curious.
Vincent will take the little like earbuds out of his bag and pass them to the individual. Put these on your ears. Or they're like ear clips. They call it little earrings. And then he will take his what we have on him right now? Probably the weird. Oh no, that got switched out. That broke. So he'll probably just have his violin on. He'll take it off and he'll play a little bit. We'll have the little other end of the silent melody attached to it.
Roll performance.
$18.
That's interesting.
And then he'll gesture for the individual to take the earbuds off.
No. Shakes his head.
Vincent stops playing.
Takes them off and hands it back to you. So
And
did
he'll
you...
start playing again, and he wouldn't be able to hear it anymore.
Did you convert the audio wavelength into like a magical sigil sequence. Send that to separate stuff. It's just like it's almost like a prototype sending stone taken away. This is cool. So you already have it made. You want a formula to, I'm assuming you want to sell this?
Yes, dear.
Okay. Cool. Do you have, what other ideas do you have? And you can see that now he's interested.
Vincent will look around. Do you have a place we can sit down?
Yeah. He waves a hand up, and you can see the ground itself. Two like cylinders just begin to raise out of the stone floor. He sits down on one of them.
Vincent will take a seat. He'll bring out the ring of mind shielding from his pocket. I'm assuming you know what this magic item is.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a sort of request in altering it. When you pass on while wearing this, usually your soul can go into it, and you can stay there if you wish, or head on to the afterlife. Any way you could keep someone in there.
Can I pause that thought for a second? This feels like, is this illegal stuff? Is this like stuff I should probably be worrying about talking about? Because you asked me if we had a place to talk. So that's suspicious 1. Right? Now suspicious 2 was being like, hey, can we trap people for eternity? Answer, yes. For the most part, it's just a matter of distance, right? So I can concoct for you potentially like a box that could jam distance from the interior to exterior. You could create a prison. Barely anybody would be able to escape from this puppy.
Vincent will just cross his legs. And would you be willing to make this?
The box? Oh, that's easy. If you want me to alter the ring so that people can't escape it, that's harder.
So something new, and he'll grab the ring and put it back in his thing. The box interests me more, I guess. How would it work? Similar? So what would you do?
I don't know that you can really understand the nature of it. With formulas, you're not like an enchanter, are you?
I wouldn't be here if I was, dear.
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, so we got both bases covered. So on this case, then, I won't tell you. But I can say that it would work, and you could open it, and you could always lock it if you like, or bury it. Burying it would be good, too.
I just skip the details. I just want to know, like, will it achieve what I asked?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the box itself would just block any kind of telepathic communication exterior. And so it wouldn't really allow any individual to be able to connect in with it. It'd just be, you got a brain in a box.
Vincent, can he insight that? Is he just using like weird language, or is it actually a brain in a box?
No, it'd just be like, well, I mean, the ring itself has a brain on it in the first place. But he's just saying, like, you can trap a consciousness. You basically kill someone while tuned to the ring, trap them within the ring, and then trap them within the box. And then you pretty much cannot get out from that point.
Okay, interesting. Would you be willing to make this for me?
Yeah, I just want, like, a cut of if this thing like breaks really heavily. This is probably going to be like an underground thing. I don't think the gods really look too happily upon eternal imprisonment. Although maybe some of the prisons would like this idea. I don't know. It depends on how good you are at marketing. But like, I just want like a percentage. Let's say 1.
He wants a percentage of like the formula if Vincent ever sells this, basically.
Yeah.
Deal.
Cool. So, where do you live?
He'll reach into his coat pocket and pull out one of his business cards to Heart's Desires.
Cool. Do you have like a room there that I could have, or?
No, dear. Why?
Okay. See, I only enchant for like my own family, so I would join yours, and then be there. You got like an Arcanist room, right?
We do, right?
No.
I thought there was one room we did have, but it's the one to make staves and wands.
You have an arcanist who actually can't work because they don't have a workshop.
Ah, okay. I see, family. So you're willing to just come over to us like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of legalities that we can skip if I'm just a part of your family, and then I don't need to pay like a ton of stuff for the various different ingredients and the amount of time and labor. I can just kind of expedite that, and then the dungeon gives me a lot of money.
And would this be a permanent endeavor?
Until you stop entertaining me.
I see. And then he like looks down towards his violin and then looks back towards him. Can Vincent, does he mean entertain in multiple aspects or just like giving him work?
Your idea is what has entertained him here. So like the just more fun magic items. This person just seems driven by things that might excite them.
Okay. Well, if you're willing to come down, I'm sure I could give you an audience with our god.
Cool. I feel like that's the like minimum requirement. Yeah. I'm gonna have to like get a bond. I currently don't have one. So actually, shit. Maybe that's why my spell didn't work. I don't have those. Camera pulls out. No, you may say. Go ahead.
Can Vincent, is this the owner of the establishment or is he being trolled this whole time?
This person is overly confident. I think that's all you can really discern from passive insight with them. However, like they seem worth their salt. They know what they're talking about.
Okay.
And you were recommended by Carmina. A person did bring you to the right location, it seems. There didn't seem to be any deception in the individual from before.
We don't have any arcanist area set up, but it's something we could work on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can work here briefly, for the most part. But I won't be able to release anything until we're chill, if that makes sense.
Then Vincent will look back to the long line. Are you free? I can take you there now.
He looks back at the long line and is just like, yes, please.
He
I got a
smiles
back door.
up and I guess heads towards the back door. And then in the back of his head, Carson, make up the carriage for 2 seats.
You see the kid once again waves his hand, places the hand down, and those 2 cylinders descend into the ground. Which draws your attention because once again, he just said he's not bound.
Yes.
And then as the 2 of you begin to make your way, Carson gives a mental nod, and we cycle through.
Also, were his eyes pink?
No.
Okay.
Jojo, you find yourself finally at your... what was their name again? My apologies.
Shell.
Shell.
And Arjun.
Yeah. You find yourself within the home as Shell finishes carving out this effigy, and you can now see it's quite good. The face that sits on the effigy matches the silhouette of the creature that you had seen hurling that javelin towards you in your dream, and now, without a doubt in your mind, you can see that this is the god that now haunts your dreams.
Have you seen them before?
Oh, it's been some time, but the memory never fades, yes. It's more oral history. We've traveled a lot in our times.
Okay, well, thanks for this and for this, and she'll like start to take off the eye patch. Could you let Arjun know that if they need help with their, I guess, gathering of stuff for people in the Whitewater Key, that they can send word to the Old Town, and I'll help them out if I can?
You hear from behind you, "Oh, yeah?"
Yeah.
And then the sound of a small bundle hitting the ground. Arjun begins to move forward, kind of just wipes some dust off of the arms and goes to reach for a clasped forearm.
Hey. I clasp forearm because like his he's got like webbed fingers because he's like half Triton, right? So I imagine it's just like a little weird.
It's just sticky. As he pulls away, you can feel that just movement.
Yeah, if you need help. I mean, I might be going into the dungeon again sometime soon. I haven't seen you in a while. I go into the
Tribute.
dungeon now.
He reaches over and just takes your eye patch. Yeah, do you want to talk outside?
Yeah.
He takes off the eye patch, places it by the door.
Like ding 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 ding.
It helps if you just stay on one side of the doorway. Cycles through. Nothing. You came over.
Yeah,
What's up with you?
I just needed. Well, I've been having weird dreams. Shell's sort of helping me out with this, and she'll just hold up the Ilnival statue. Just some challenge. I'm sure it's fine.
Some like Ilnivalian orc challenge you, or
like Ilnival challenged me. It's out. It's a story. She just like puts it in her pocket. Yeah, what's up? You dealing with the Whitewater Cree now?
No, I'm just helping out where I can. There's a lot of people around that are just around that weren't before. Some people are falling into just the Coliseum, and it's getting a little bit angry over there.
They're falling into it, like they just are taking out their problems over there, or?
Well, aggression and just there's some money to be made. So a lot of people have lost their jobs on the Eastern Front. So
yeah, I think that water problem. I think that Umberly got pissed off. I think that might have something to do with it.
She's always pissed off. She's
literally
literally
she
the
is,
bitch
but
queen.
I know, but like extra pissed off and like, flood.
Oh. Wouldn't that be like a very big deal?
I think it should be, but I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I'll look into that.
It's wild. So if you want to help, there's quite a bit you can do. Right now, we're just looking to gather some materials, building at least a small city, as far as we can. A bit more shelters.
Oh, like here?
Within the area, over on the eastern, just above Ogrelon's Might. There's a small courtyard. We've taken down the gazebo, whatever it is, and put up some homes.
Okay.
Super temporary, but
I'll stop by if I have time.
do you know someone who can? I know there's like magic that you can just make food.
Oh.
Be very useful. Do you know anyone who can do that in your adventurer circles?
Food. People who can just make food. That's like a cleric thing, right?
Sure.
Isn't your father a druid? He can cast.
He's not actually a druid. He's like chef on. I mean, I could ask Ron to like make some food, but he can't like magically make food. I have seen 2 clerics, and I think both of them are very much like the fuck you type of people.
Oh, I thought clerics were like the.
Not the 2 I've met.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, actually, there's a 3rd one who's also sort of like fuck you, but I'll ask her. She'd be the most likely to actually help.
Can I see that for a sec? And he points down towards the figure that Shell gave.
Yeah.
He takes it and begins to look out. Still got it. Hands it back to you and begins to examine.
Oh yeah, it's good, right?
It's one of her better ones.
Have you been hearing anything about what's been going on the 20th floor?
I mean, there's been a few people who haven't come back. The only person that I really knew who was capable of going up there was Aragat. He probably fought him a few times in the Honor Forge, but he's strong. Well, they did for a time, but now not many people are. I mean, he went up there and he's supposed to just be looking at something. I mean, I know it takes a long time. I don't know what's going on in there, but he usually comes back every few days. Now he's just not.
And you've still never heard anything back from your mom, right? From Aunt Gorza?
Not yet.
Well,
can feel it
you
on
know,
the
if I
wind,
get
though.
up there.
Something's happening. That's all I can say. Something will move soon. I have a good
Yeah.
feeling about it.
What, are you starting to do mystics as well?
Well, I'm still kind of shit at effigies, but
Okay, well, I'll come by if I have a chance, but no promises. I'm pretty busy.
just don't go up there and don't come back.
Yeah, I'll be sure not to do that.
Also, there's a lizard. There's a dragonborn who's challenging you at the
Oh, really?
honor fort. Yeah. People were like,
Oh, time. God damn it, where have they been? Calendar
Dragonborn.
person? Yeah, Dragon. Okay, yeah, we are talking about the same person. Good.
I don't know.
Okay, about time. God damn it. Yeah, I'll go fight them soon.
All right. Here, pick up these. He throws you 3 bundles of wood.
Oh,
Pulls a few on their own shoulder or on his
Yep,
own shoulder and
yep.
begins to move.
she tries to carry way more than him.
You succeed on carrying way more than him, without a doubt. But you begin to also move through the area. You see that there is indeed, as you travel through, there's probably close to 200, no, not 200, probably around 40 people who seem to be displaced within this area and have taken root within the anvil.
Okay.
As time begins to circle about, Matilda, what do you do?
I wait until that guy that kind of snubbed me is getting a groove on, just so that when I interrupt him, it's really annoying. And then, so I wait when there's like a pause, and he's like pausing for weight. You know, I just assume this guy's like a pompous jerk that's like doing the whole like, you know, I'm complaining about this, and then like pauses for like dramatic effect. Am I wrong or am I correct?
There are brief pauses. Absolutely. It's not like, and what do you all think, friends? But he'll just be like, and that is why it's true. Now, if you'll all continue along with me. Yeah. So you kind of like
yeah.
pull into the midst of one of these. Oh, what do you say?
Yeah. So Matilda like walks up and like gets to be in a place where she can be more seen, and she says, "I agree that walls are not the answer. Although I am surprised someone of your intellect isn't including the philosophy crowd of this conversation, because they kind of go hand in hand. We cannot hope to solve political strife within our walls without first working on the root of the issue, which is prejudice against dungeon-born and historically othered races. So unless you wish to discuss how to make that a reality, then I think you should stop prattling along in circles. You know, talk is cheap when people are going missing and turning up dead."
Roll a charisma contest with the sim.
Ah! Can I just straight charisma?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can guidance on a charisma check. It's that it is technically still an ability check, but I don't know if
Yeah.
the magic
Adrian,
would.
What do you think?
This one would be
I don't think so.
interesting.
Yeah, no. Okay, well, should have, but whatever.
I'm curious about this one for guidance. Mid-conversation, it would probably be difficult just because this is kind of a heated
No,
debate.
that's fair.
As you were going back and forth, you were saying, at one point you say words are cheap, talk is cheap, and upon like the moment you finish speaking, he says, precisely. What we need now is action.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put legislation in place. We need to begin shooting down the concepts of these people who are saying that we need the walls to raise higher. We need to send out expeditions into the outer lands and pull back information. And he just continues to go on, still avoiding the concept of Dungeonborn. What do you do at this moment?
I do kind of want to, I pause, and I'm like, okay, fine. That's how it's gonna be. There's always other days to come back. But he's talking about organizing groups of people to go out and gather information. So Matilda's gonna like scan the crowd and see who likes that idea. And who's like nodding along.
Roll perception. As you glance around, you can see that some people they're sitting in and nodding along with the idea, some of which who used to be on the opposite end in the midst of this conversation are just popping back and forth between like, this guy seems to know what he's talking about, but then he just drops all the beans kind of thing going on. As you are sitting and watching, eventually he hits a point in his conversation where he says, "No least to save the Dungeon-born," and points towards you and says, "What do you think has happened on the exterior of the city when sent out? The lizard folk had left, and now look at the remains of Dalika, taken over in the swamps. There is an inherent danger to the dungeon. The people who are remaining within its walls do so under their own peril, yet they remain immortal. We cannot sit back and attempt to, as you were saying before, not bring philosophy into this. What think you of the mind of a long-lived individual that is given nothing but strife? Are they not a danger to the world around them?" Begins to pull, and you can see he's now kind of beginning to rile up the crowd almost in this direction of fear.
Family, that one of my family members is a goblin from the dungeon, and she is a valuable part of our team. I think it is people like you that wish to strike fear in the hearts of the masses that make it so people like the lizard folk that went to Dalika feel like they have to leave and find other ways to survive. I don't think they would resort to those tactics or to those kinds of actions if you did not make it so that was their only choice to begin with.
He kind of moves forward to you and he says, "Let's not try and make this too personal. I'm simply speaking the facts." And you see one person, elderly man, long robe, long white beard, kind of steps up forward and says, "I think she has a point, though. What of the reforms that were given towards these lizard folk before they had decided to leave? What reason had they to stay?" And then you can see he's like mildly stumped for a moment. He says, "Well, you have an opportunity here to jump in if you like."
You are completely out of line. You cannot separate objectivity from subjectivity and vice versa. So don't tell me to just stick with the facts, because when you just stick with the facts, that takes away humanity, and without humanity, we cannot have connection or story. Then it means absolutely nothing. It is just dry facts. Of course, sticking to the facts is probably the reason why they left in the first place. You have to have story in order for us to feel connected, to want to help each other. It's just the way nature is. I'm not going to feel connected to this group of people unless I have connections or stories with them. I have a family member who this directly impacts. The things that you're saying.
Someone in the audience leans forward and says, "You're not going to be driving this back towards that talk of having the monsters leave the dungeon, are you?" And he says, "I'll be with you in just a moment, sir." And then the other individual just begins to look in towards this, takes a glance towards you. The elderly man stands and kind of sits down and begins to listen in towards this. The several people in the audience stand and just immediately begin to leave as they realize that this was moving in a different direction. He says, "Oh, everyone, please sit. Let's talk about this."
This is not a dialogue. This is a propaganda machine. What are you doing trying to strike fear into the hearts of people against a monstrous race and just reinforcing prejudices? This is not a dialogue.
Roll intimidation. He stands, he leans back, he says, "This is an open forum, one of all thoughts, and I am not simply driving an agenda, I am not attempting to enforce anything other than a dialogue. And this dialogue is of shared interests among all the people here. So if you have something to say, I say it, but keep your sharp tongue within the mouth and speak only the facts. Because facts are what we deal in here." And then someone stands and says, "Ideas are what we deal in here." Actually, you look over and you see a man. Late 30s, perhaps. Chiseled face. Hair pulled back. You can see he has like a lute slung over the back of his shoulder and a small scroll case at his waist. He begins to move forward. He's wearing fine attire. Colorful purples and blues and greens. As he begins to move forward, the circle come to their knees, and the individual who you were previously speaking to, no less, hits the floor.
I do not. I don't know who this dude person is. I'm getting ready to get my dialogue muscles.
Are they a bit larger than normal, Adrian?
I'd say he's a little bit larger than a normal person.
Yeah.
But as he claps his hands twice, reverberates out throughout the air, and the silence that permeated around you, you hear conversations in the other bubbles begin as they say, "And that's why we should not allow taxation of the dungeon." And then the silence reverberates throughout the arena as he says, 10-minute break, everyone. And everyone just begins to move in different directions. You see that that tiefling from before. The only one who stands, remaining completely still and solid, looking towards you for a moment. Eyes burning. Bright orange embers in the distance. They turn and they make their way through a back room, significantly later than everybody else. And the individual who looks towards you says, "You seem to have some interesting ideas about things that happened outside of the city that I would like to know about."
Oh, is that what the god is saying to me?
He leans down and says, "I'm sure you've heard of me." He reaches out for a handshake and says, "My name is Ogma."
Have I heard of them? Do I know who they
You're not.
are? No, but like, have I actually heard of Ogma? Like,
Roll
yeah.
religion.
He's literally the god your
Oh
cult
my
kind of being
God.
based after. Free.
I don't care.
Free knowledge. He's the
Oh,
god of
shit.
bars.
Oh, you definitely know.
Natural 20, yeah.
I do want to say when that tiefling leaves, I give them, like the nod,
There is just there is a long enough to be awkward stare that is fully purposeful to not reciprocate your sub nod.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it seems to be purposeful. And as they leave, an Ogma reaches forward a hand to give you a handshake. That is where we will end today's session.
Oh boy.
Thank you all for coming to this fun turn of events. And until next time, at the Dragonleaf. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Protect yourself from the demon sun above.
Sun is a deadly laser.